Thank you so much. Sir, I may not have a question. Okay. I'd like to make a few comments then, if I could. First of all, Mr. Watkins
yes,
has expressed his dread that maybe some of his pet psychics should not have to go through something like this, to use his very words, when he has not applied and he has no idea what the test would be of whatever he wants to claim. How can you know this in advance? By intuition, perhaps? I'm not sure.
it's about by looking at your website.
Ah, I see. That's a good idea.
I did.
Would if I knew, yes. Now, apparently, you do the tests. You talked about you doing tests.
Yes, I've been an experimenter in parapsychology, yes.
But the James Randi Educational Foundation, we don't do the test. What we do is we agree with the people who apply, and you might be one of those persons for all we know.
Oh, very doubtful.
And we have the application form. Allison, get it ready.
Right.
Be sure. Oh, right. How encouraging. We don't do the tests. In most cases, all cases possible, we get a mutual agreement between the two parties, that is the believers and those who are the skeptics, the people who negotiate this sort of thing in good faith, that they will agree with a certain authority or a panel or whatever. That is reflected in the recent test that we did of homeopathy with the BBC and the Royal Academy in the UK. They paid all of the bills, cost us nothing, and they said they were going to test according to Benveniste's, the now deceased Jacques Benveniste. They were going to use his protocol, and they did. I approved of that because I thought that if it was done by the Royal Academy, that it would probably be properly done. I trusted them to do it, but I told them when they called me on this, do not do it at a date that you announced to me in advance, because the homeopaths and the other woo-woos out there are very fond of saying, oh, Mr. Randi uses negative vibrations at a distance to impede the experiment and to interfere with the success of the experiment. So I said, I want it to be done at a time that I don't know about. I don't want to know what the exact protocol, the written protocol is, so that I can't put out the wrong vibrations. They did exactly that, and then they called me 2 days after the tests were done, and they said, we have the results. I said, don't tell me. I'll go to England and I'll sit in front of a microphone and a camera while you reveal the results. And I will predict in advance that they will fall well within the error bars. That's the way we do tests, Mr. Watkins. We don't do tests with me sitting there as a magician, as an entertainer, as a show business person. No, we do tests done through another agency that everyone trusts, just so you'll know in the future. Now, with the Royal Academy some years ago in England, I was a speaker before them, and a gentleman named John Taylor stood up after my talk, and he referred to me as a mere magician. My. I stood up in response to that, and I said, John, magician, yes. Mere, never. And I got a round of applause from the Royal Academy, I'm happy to say. Don't think that because I'm an entertainer, that I'm a magician, that I have no IQ whatsoever and I can't conduct an experiment or design an experiment.
Never said that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying don't assume. Just in case you might, you see. I wanted to guard against that. Now, I agree with another gentleman, Patrick's statement here. He said scientists don't prove anything. And then he used the statement 2 + 2 = 4. Yeah, you can test that any number of times. Put 4 Volkswagens, I'll be all right, keep your seats. 2 Volkswagens in with 2 pineapples and mix them up, and you'll add them up and they'll come to 4. The pineapples may have suffered, but nonetheless the count will be 4. That is a statement by definition, 2 + 2 = 4. But scientists don't prove anything. I absolutely agree with that. What they do is they establish statements about the universe which appear to be probably true, to use Allison's word, but they're subject constantly to testing and retesting. That is what science does discover. So I agree with that statement. Now, I'm going to ask a simple question here. We have the application form. It's sitting in front of Graham Watkins.
Yes.
Sir, all you have to do to fill out that form is to offer an experiment that we can conduct for the $1 million prize. Oh, I must add, by the way, the homeopathy test that the Royal Academy did, I waived the preliminary test, which I'm prepared to do in this case as well for the $1 million challenge. I waived the preliminary test, and guess what? Homeopathy failed the test grandly. The error bars were on the graph like this, and the data came right in the middle of it. It was absolutely classic. We will do that number of experiments any number of times as well. I would like to know, from you at this very moment before this august audience here, will you fill out that form and sign it and send it in to the James Randi Educational Foundation?
Absolutely.
Done? A year from today, ladies and gentlemen, we may have another meeting. And at that time, we will examine the results. $1 million is on the line. It's not mine. It belongs to the James Randi Educational Foundation. It's up for grabs. Do it.
We can have another discussion at any time. But I would, there is no way, as a scientist, that I would consider submitting my research to your protocols.
It's not the way it's done.
Yes, it is the way it's done. Anybody else wants to, anybody can try to replicate this at any time, and I'm confident somebody will one day. Somebody in mainstream science will replicate it someday. I'm quite confident of that.
All right.
It's out there, it's in the literature.
The challenge is very plain as to what you do. You don't depend on prior evidence. You don't depend on anecdotal evidence. Anything that has come before the moment that you apply does not apply. What you do is you design an experiment, and we design it from the ground up what the protocol will be, as long as we both agree that the protocol is sound, and then we go to work on it. That's the way it's done.
If you are interested in my experiment, it's in the literature. I will give you references to it.
I want no references or diagnostic material of any kind. I don't need that, and I won't accept that. Let's design an experiment from the ground up.
But I don't accept you. I don't accept your protocol.
I don't ask you to accept me. I won't be involved.
Yes, you are. You're effectively challenging me to accept you, and that's been done before. You've been challenged before to accept something on a number of occasions. It's funny, Randy, because years ago, when we first met, I know you don't remember, but it's a very long time ago. When we first met, you were in the process of debunking Uri Geller.
No, I was investigating Uri Geller. I do not debunk, I investigate.
I would differ with you on semantics there.
All right, okay.
But the fact is, I thought Uri Geller was probably a stage magician too.
Oh, really?
I agreed with you.
How did you come to that conclusion?
I agreed with you at that time. And I thought you were doing some fairly, but the problem is, you paint with way too wide a brush, and when the paint don't stick, you just glop more on.
I'm not going to paint this, sir. It's your painting.
No,
you construct the painting.
No, you might accuse me of believing in the tooth fairy, though. I'm nervous about that.
The what? I'm sorry.
You might accuse me of believing in the tooth fairy. I'm nervous about that.
I don't know. I haven't discussed that with you.
No, but you know what I'm talking about.
Which tooth fairy are you talking about? I know a number of them.
I think I've seen some fairies here.
You're good at ducking and weaving, I'll give you that.
In any case, will you accept my offer?
No, absolutely not.
Very well, thank you.
No, it's not the way things are done in science. And besides which, my experiment is fairly complicated. It can't be set up for a magician. Let me give you an example.